This isn't real. You know what it is? It's St. Elmo's fire. Electric flashes of light that appear in dark skies out of nowhere. Huh? Sailors would guide entire journeys by it. But the joke was on them. There was no fire. There wasn't even a St. Elmo. They made it up. They made it up because they thought they needed it to keep them going when things got tough. Just like you're making up all of this. We're all going through this. Hey, it's our time on the edge.
I'm just so tired, Billy. I never thought I'd be so tired at 22. I just don't even know who to be anymore.
Join the club. You know, no one was buying this together woman of the 80s stuff anyway.
Stop. Okay, I'm gonna have to kick him out. No, get out. Go. Shoot. Goodbye.
Cat's name?
Bye-bye. Mufasa.
Mufasa?
Yes.
Sweet.
Mufasa. Out. Goodbye. I need to lock you out. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
What's the menu? What's on the menu? Yeah, he's being a brat because he didn't eat his lunch, and now he wants me to feed him, and I'm not going to. See, and he's back. So, come on, get out. Come on, I can't. No. See, now you're getting on my nerves. Okay, goodbye.
Hakuna Matata.
There's
Sorry.
no Hakuna Matata. Goodbye.
No.
Bye, love you. Kisses. Oh, wait.
I heard the door slam.
Well, yeah, it didn't slam very well, though.
So how you doing, Scott?
Yeah,
Doing
Scott,
pretty
how
good.
are you?
I'm all good.
You're
good.
okay.
Yeah, things have died down here, excitement wise.
Yeah.
It was a rough Monday. That was when we had to put her down, and
Yeah.
but we
Oh,
knew,
so sorry.
you know, Sunday we could kind of see it was going that direction.
Yeah.
But by Monday, I mean Sunday evening, she had declined even further, and by Monday morning, it was really just, it was definitely out of mercy at that point. So
Poor thing.
yeah, it was brutal. But I got all my crying out of the way that morning. I got, I think it hit me the worst as we were doing it, and
Yeah.
we had a house call, so the vet came out and did it at our house in her own bed, and I think that's the best way for her to have gone. So it's unfortunate. She was only 7, and this cancer snuck up on us, and we had no signs of it until like a week and a half before it happened. It was crazy how fast that went. So our other doggies are doing good. They don't seem to be suffering from any kind of depression, which I thought Bo, they're both the two greyhounds, Bo and Toffee was the one we lost. Bo, we had him only 3 months before we got Toffee, and they were inseparable most of the time. So it's odd to see him not really be that affected by it. It's good. I'm glad that he's not being too bummed out. Occasionally I see him look around like he's looking for her, but other than that, everybody seems to be doing pretty good. And we're going to be moving on to fostering more greyhounds so that we can try to help them find good homes.
That's good. Good for you.
Yeah.
Very, very healthy way of handling that.
Right. And, you look back on this as an unfortunate instance, but, at least while, she was with you all, she had the best of care and she was loved. So that's how you really have to put it in perspective.
Yeah, we've heard that from the few people that know, our interaction with her. Everybody says, you gave her the best life that you could. And she had a good time when she was with us. So I'm glad we were able to give her a chance, and hopefully we can find more homes that can give other greyhounds chances, because it's, not just, it's not just greyhounds. I'm not going to go on a rant about how many dogs are out there that need homes. You know, it's
No.
it's sad, and cats too. There's way too many domesticated animals that need good homes, and you know, that's our next step is just to try to help another dog find another home. So we're going to be like a waypoint for them. So we're actually working with a group that brings the greyhounds in off the tracks and then takes them to a correctional facility or prison, whatever you want to call it, and the inmates actually work with the dogs to train them how to do certain things, just basic, very, very basic stuff.
Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then when they're done with the training at the prison, that's when they need a foster home until they find a forever family. So we're going to be getting more involved with that because one of the ladies that she's one of the leaders in that organization in the area. She lives like 5 minutes from us, and then we have another person that has another greyhound that lives a minute away from her. So we have four of us, me, Chrissy, and then Lisa and Bernie. They between the four of us, we should be able to help quite a few greyhounds find some new homes. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, just given the names, it actually sounded very much like an 80's movie. So, Scott, Chrissy, Lisa, Bernie.
Bernie. Yeah.
Bernie! I know
Yeah,
you're
her
in
name-
there, you son of a bitch.
Her name is
Anyway.
Her name is Brunette, but nobody can, pronounce it properly, so everybody calls her Bernie.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a shame.
So anyway, so we're moving on. We're glad that we are able to give her a good life, and we're glad that we're able to give others opportunities. So
Yeah, and I know this doesn't help, but it's just like, when, somebody or an animal gets diagnosed with something like cancer, you don't want them to suffer a long time.
Oh no.
Yeah.
If I was going to go down, I would like to go down in that kind of amount of time, in a week, because a lot of times that kind of sickness and disease can drag on for
way too long.
years,
Yeah.
So it's one of those cancers that really just it doesn't have any warning signs. It's called hemangiosarcoma, and it's a tumor that grows off of the liver. Not the liver. I'm sorry, the spleen.
Oh my God.
And it was if you saw the X-ray, she went in for something else because we didn't know there was anything wrong with her at that point in that way. Her back end was like acting drunk, like she was losing control of her rear legs, and we're like, well, that's really weird. So took her in, and then the vet calls and says, yeah, you and Chrissy need to come to the office. We have to talk. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah,
What
that's
is
not.
that? I mean,
that's
that's like
you don't want that phone call.
Yeah. Yeah. So right away we're like, well, we know this is serious when they ask you to come in and say we need to talk. So decisions had to be made and figure out what steps we were gonna take. But it's crazy how fast that thing went. And actually, I know somebody else that had a dog that had the same thing, and she said the exact same thing. You didn't even know it was coming on until the last minute. And then there's, even if you do surgery, you might get, if it's successful, and chemo. If you go through surgery and chemo, and if it's successful at that point, you might get another 5 to 10 months out of them. So, really, I mean, why do that?
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't want to. If I was in her position, I wouldn't want to go through that and be around for another 5 whole months. So anyway. All right, let's move on.
Let's talk about something a little lighter.
Let's move on. Yeah, I knew it was going to be a topic, but
well, this is a big deal, for you, and we definitely want to talk to you about it. So
I definitely appreciate you guys' sympathy and empathy, and it's nice that so many people care. So it's nice that so many people are concerned about how we're doing with having to go through that. We've had a lot of people reach out to us, and it's been very nice.
Well, really,
Yes.
anybody that's been a pet owner has
Oh,
gone
yeah.
through it. So we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw my post on Facebook, that quote by Dean Koontz.
No.
It was like it was Sunday that I posted it, the day before we put her down. And I'm like, I'm going to need to hear this tomorrow. I'm going to need to read this tomorrow. So if you guys go back, you should go back and look at what I posted on Sunday. It was right before we knew we were going to put it down. It's just a really good quote by Dean Koontz in one of his books that he wrote for pet owners, especially dogs. You know, he's a huge dog lover. So actually, let me read it to you.
Sure.
I might cry.
Okay.
So bear with me.
Okay.
I might cry too.
Okay. It says, dogs' lives are short, too short, but you know that going in. You know the pain is coming. You're going to lose a dog. Ah, damn it. See, I told you I was going to cry. You're going to lose a dog, and there's going to be great anguish. So you live fully in the moment with her. Never fail to share her joy or delight in her innocence, because you can't support the illusion that a dog can be your lifelong companion. Sorry, it's not yet. Not done yet.
Okay.
There's such beauty in the hard honesty of that, in accepting and giving love while always aware that it comes with an unbearable price. Maybe loving dogs is a way we do penance for all the other illusions we allow ourselves and the mistakes we make because of those illusions. That's it.
Wow.
That's very deep.
Yes.
And true on so many levels.
Yeah. I heard that probably about 6-7 years ago. I heard that. I was listening to an audiobook. It's called The Darkest Evening of the Year by him. And it's not really about dogs, but he just happens to have that quote in it. So it struck me as very powerful. And that was before I even lost my first dog. So I've always leaned on that, and I use that a lot when other people lose their pets. I pass that on because that's kind of how it is with a lot of them.
Definitely.
So, anyway, thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
Whew. All right. Hold on. Drink of whiskey.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
So then, what's our topic tonight? Are we doing Rob Lowe?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because we
it's-
did Mr. Swayze last time.
Yeah. Swayze got that edited, ready to post. So,
Yeah.
we talked Rob Lowe being the next one, and you were going to be the lead, Rose.
I know. I'm kind of apprehensive about that.
Oh, come on. You can do it.
You've done this before. Come
I
on.
feel like, I don't know. I want to mess it up.
No,
I don't like being in charge.
Did you want me to do it?
No.
All right.
I stop being a big baby. But, if I start, rambling or missing my mark, just reel me back in, okay?
Yeah, it's podcast. It's not like it's, we have a script or anything. You could go completely
I know.
go completely rogue, whatever way you want to take it. I mean, it's, you're leading the show, so.
I know.
Sword of omens, give me sight beyond sight.
Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Sewer and the Kodan Armada. Get ready. Prepare for blast off.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88. Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Remember, no matter where you go, there you are.
This is 80's Reboot Overdrive Podcast.
We were dancing just like Swayze when Jennifer Grey had nose. Oh, how I miss the 80s.
is like so dated.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to 80's Reboot Overdrive. I will be your host today, 80's Music Girl. With me today is Dave, the Overlord.
Overlord.
Hi, Dave.
Hello.
And we also have Scott. Scott, hello. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Great.
We're still working on the Icon series here with The Outsiders. And this week in particular, we're talking about one of my favorites, Mr. Rob Lowe.
This guy never ages.
Never. Yeah, him and Ralph Macchio, I think. Yeah, Dorian Gray. Anyway, so they have really good plastic surgeons. I don't know, probably not. So, I don't know if anybody knows a whole lot about Mr. Lowe, but he does not have a whole lot going on in the 80s. He wasn't as prolific as some of his counterparts. Basically, he started off in 1980, and I don't know if anyone saw this series, A New Kind of Family. He was in 11 episodes of this as Tony Flanagan. And the premise of the show actually I had to go back and look at that. I thought it was kind of interesting. But I never saw it. It was from 79 to 80, and that probably makes sense to me because I was over in Germany during that time. So did either of you see this as a TV show?
This did not hit my radar, no.
No? New Kind of Family. It had Eileen Brennan in it, and I love her, so I'm surprised that, it never even went into syndication. So it was only on for one season, so. But he had a really interesting hairstyle from the picture, so. I see why he cut it later. But, so he did that, and then ABC After School Specials, we all watched them and loved them from 72 to 97. He was in 2 episodes. He played Jeff Bartlett and Charles Aldeberry. And then it didn't do a whole lot until, 1983, TV movie, Thursday's Child. He played Sam Alden. The amazing movie, to me, I think that gave him a start. The Outsiders in 1983 also, as Soda Pop Curtis, as you all remember. And he did the movie Class in 1983, and he played Skip. Other than Outsiders, did you all see either one of those?
The previous ones?
Yeah, Thursday's Child and Class.
No. I didn't see them until The Outsiders.
Oh, okay.
But we talked about Class, though, when we were talking about our Andrew McCarthy podcast.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that was cool. So then 1984, he did a movie called The Hotel New Hampshire, played John Barry. He was in Oxford Blues in 1984 also, as Nick D'Angelo. And then 1985, St. Elmo's Fire, he played Billy Hicks. And then he was on, it looks like a variety show of some kind, The Go-Go's. It was prime time. And he played, my internet just went wonky.
It says hunk at the dance.
Thank you, yeah. I was like, really? It's like, I don't have a name, I'm just a hunk.
Yep.
So yeah, so then 1986, Youngblood. And he was Dean Youngblood. And then, was that the hockey movie, or what was that one again?
Hockey movie,
so we were talking about that one, yeah. And then, About Last Night, he played Danny. And then in 1987, Square Dance, he played Rory. Never saw it. I had an opportunity to see it. I chose not to. So. And then 1988, he's finishing out the decade with Masquerade as Tim Whalen, and then Illegally Yours as Richard Dice. So I am going to Dave. What are some of your fondest memories of Mr. Robert Lowe?
It goes without saying that if I'm not leading the show, that you guys pick on me first.
Of course.
which is kind of cool. So, I touched on this movie when we talked about Ali Sheedy. There was
Mm-hmm.
a movie called Oxford Blues,
Mm-hmm.
and Mr. Rob Lowe played Nick D'Angelo. He's basically a American that gets to go to Princeton,
Mm-hmm.
so he's from Las Vegas. He's got kind of the swagger about him, kind
Mm-hmm.
of, and very Americanized, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And what really stood out for me is, he goes there because he's got this thing for, I forgot her name.
Ali Sheedy?
No, Ali Sheedy was actually somebody that was just like his team captain
Oh,
for his rowing team,
oh, okay.
Lady Victoria. So I
Oh,
had this
Lady
thing,
Victoria.
yeah, I had this thing for Lady
And a
Victoria,
face.
yeah. And so he's really infatuated with Lady Victoria, so much so that he's like uh, very stalkerish, if you will. But at the same time, kind of charming, as the Rob Lowe can be, and there's this dynamic between Ali Sheedy, who's been there for a while, and giving Rob Lowe the, here's how we have to act in this society, even though you're an American, but there's certain kind of ways to behave, and
Yeah.
Rob Lowe's got to learn how to do that. And then one of the classic scenes that I like from the movie is there's this debate where they've got this big rowing match against Harvard, and all of the people are in this big auditorium, and they're all debating about all of the things that America is responsible for bringing to the world, and they bring up things like Big Mac and you know, you know, all the NFL and things like that. Things that we should really be admonished for. Because of
Oh,
course they're
yeah.
just trying to build themselves up for their rowing team.
Right.
And all of a sudden, Mr. Rob Lowe, Nick D'Angelo feels the need to stand up and start debating for America. Amongst all the other English people there. So
Yeah.
it was a really well done scene. It was great to see. And then, of course, the guy that's leading the debate is also the one that is who's been with Lady Victoria. The boyfriend. And
Right.
so there's this love triangle thing going on, and all of a sudden it's personal and things like that. So it was really well done by Rob.
Cool. I've never saw that movie.
Hmm.
But, there's always, never say never.
All right. Well, if we're going to apply the dollar amount, like we did before,
Yeah.
I would give this probably a good $5 movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I that's how much I enjoyed that movie.
Cool.
That's a pretty high price.
That is, isn't it?
That is a high
Yeah.
price, yeah. Josh?
I'm surprised. I remember seeing the movie. I don't remember being taken in by it. So I remember I did see it at one point. I just don't remember what it was about, and I don't remember all the details that you remember, Dave. So I don't have a lot to say on that one.
That's okay.
That's it.
But
That's fine.
But you have a favorite movie or scene from
Yeah,
Rob?
I think he was good as Soda Pop Curtis in The Outsiders, of course, but I think St. Elmo's Fire. It's as Billy. I think he kind of steals the show at one point in the movie, and that's when he talks about St. Elmo's Fire itself, and he's talking to Jules. She's in complete meltdown mode. Locked in her apartment, and Billy crawls in the window and he starts talking to her. And I have the quote here. I'm going to read it to you because it's really, I think it's really cool how he did it, and he used the hairspray with the fire and stuff and did kind of crazy stuff with it. So his quote is, "Jules, honey, this isn't real. You know what it is? It's St. Elmo's Fire. Electric flashes of light that appear in dark skies out of nowhere," and that's when he lights the fire. Whoosh. sound effect. Sailors would guide entire journeys by it, but the joke was on them. There was no fire. There wasn't even a St. Elmo. They made it up. They made it up because they thought they needed it to keep them going when times got tough, just like you're making up all of this. We're all going through this. It's our time at the edge. And I just think his character in that movie, being he was really the bad boy of the group. And he was always getting in trouble, getting in brawls, drinking too much, kind of cheating on his wife with...
he was not kind of cheating.
Yeah, but no, you know what? No, now, there was only one scene where they actually... Well, yeah, I guess he was cheating at that point.
Yeah,
but
I mean, even
for the most part, it was.
He even hit
implied.
on Jules in the car. He's hitting on the girls in the bar. I mean, a married guy, sorry, you don't do that.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you're right. So he was kind of a dirtbag, but his character was really important in that whole setup of that movie, and I just think the St. Elmo's Fire was probably his highlight in the 80s for me. So
that's cool.
I just love that scene where he goes through the St. Elmo's Fire thing. So it's kind of cool.
That is kind of neat because it kind of pulls it into perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember seeing the movie once, and for some reason I just didn't like it. I don't know why. It just didn't, and I wanted to see it because it had, like the major Brat Packers, so to speak, in it.
Right.
But it just didn't do anything for me. I've always had, Rob Lowe has always been like one of these people that made acting look like it was like something he just did every day. Like he had he made it look effortless when he had a character. And to me, it almost borderlined, I don't want to say typecasting, but when you have the same persona that you have all the time in a movie, you're just like one of the guys kind of a thing. And it's like, he always plays that character, or you get kind of comfortable with a certain role. But then, to me, when you do something outside of the norm, it's really, when you kind of recognize the actor for his skill. And I think when he did the movie Masquerade, I think that really kind of made me, whoa, really? Because he had the not want to say good old boy kind of persona, but he made you think that he was like a regular guy. And, the relationship that he had with Meg Tilly, I don't know if you ever saw this movie, but he's actually quite evil in it. And it was I think it was kind of a stretch for him because he's usually playing the bad boy, but not to the point to where, he's doing something nasty to somebody. And the whole time he's in this movie, he makes you think that, he really cares for this woman, and he doesn't, and he's playing her. So the guy that actually really loved her, played by Doug Savant, he could see it like right from the beginning, and she kind of like took it as like he was being jealous or something like that, because she'd been on the island her whole life, and her father had a lot of money, and I guess Rob Lowe, I can't remember if Rob Lowe had been there before and then he left and then he came back, but it was just a lot of mystery and suspense, surrounding the whole movie, and it really kept you on edge of your seat because at some point you just knew that, something bad did happen eventually, but you just didn't really see it coming when it finally did. So
I have not seen this one, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up though. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
It sounds interesting.
It's a little dry, and it's kind of slow. I don't know if you ever watched Meg Tilly in any movies, but she takes a while to get used to. But
yeah, she was in The Big Chill.
Yeah, yeah. So you pretty much know, what she's capable of.
Mm.
But to me, if a dollar amount, I'd say this definitely worth $3. If you could see it, like on Amazon,
The scale is really, I love the scale. This is good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
We gotta definitely keep this up.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either, but it's very intriguing to think of him as the schemer, somebody that's like targeting somebody to take advantage of. To see him in that kind of role, that'd be interesting.
Well, if you're talking about that role, then we really can't get too much into it unless we talk about a little show in 1992 named called Wayne's World.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because that's exactly the character that he played.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, but that guy, that was just a shyster guy.
Yeah.
This guy he plays in Masquerade, really, yeah. He's a sociopath, basically.
Did you guys see Illegally Yours?
I did.
Was that any good? Because I can't remember. I remember the name. I don't remember ever seeing it.
Well, Dave, did you see it at all?
No, I did not.
Okay. Rob Lowe plays a guy, Richard Dice. He has to go jury duty, and he finds out that the girl that he had a crush on in school basically they're going to be at her trial, and she's on trial for murder, and he's just like still obviously in love with her, but she's just got all this stuff going on, and she can't really give him the time of day, and she's not really good at remembering him either. So it's just kind of one of those things. It's a farce, and it's hysterical because there here again you see him play someone who's just an absolute basket case. He's just like, he can't finish his sentences. He's very unorganized. He's not really, he's just a mess, but he's put together enough to where, he needs to get done what he does. But when he's around her, he just, he can't talk. He can't function. He's just, I used to watch this at least probably once a week when it first came out.
Wow.
Wow.
You know this one well.
Would have stuck in my head. But Colleen Camp plays Molly Gilbert, and she plays his love interest. And I always liked her from the Police Academy movies. But then she went on, and she kind of went obscure for a while there. But she's actually a very good comedic actress. So, but if you get a chance to, I wouldn't spend a whole lot of money on it. But if you happen to see, it lying around somewhere, you might want to pick it up and watch it. It's funny. It's definitely funny.
All right, that wasn't a dollar amount. Give us a dollar amount.
No, it wasn't. I wouldn't know what to put on it because I'm biased. It's I can't say $3 because that was Masquerade. It was like $1.50. I don't know.
All right, so I'm walking by the bin, and let's say it's in a bin that says every DVD is $2. Do I buy it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So I know we kind of skipped over this one, but About Last Night.
Oh yeah.
That has a really good cast in it too. It's Elizabeth Perkins, Jim Belushi, Demi Moore. And or is it Elizabeth Perkins? Yeah, it is Elizabeth Perkins.
Jim Belushi.
And Jim Belushi. And actually, that was a pretty funny movie, and I would have never known that it was even that good unless my stepsister at the time was addicted to this movie, and she watched it all the time. She wore the VHS tape out.
Wow, that's saying something.
Yeah, she loved this movie, and it does have quite a few funny lines, but most of it's Jim Belushi in this one. I mean, like the most entertaining stuff. But I do remember seeing it quite a few times. Every time I stopped by the house. She's got it in the VCR, and she couldn't stop talking about it. So she was hooked on it for a while. She thought it was so romantic, you know, the Demi and Rob Lowe thing going on. So.
Yeah. I just never, I don't know. I just, because I'd seen them together in St. Elmo's Fire, and I thought, I don't know, it's probably going to be something like that, so I equated it to, so that's why I probably never watched it.
Yeah, no, I've seen it probably once, and I really don't even remember that much of the details about it.
Actually, Jim Belushi's pretty funny in it.
Yeah,
like I said, he steals the show in that one, in that movie at least.
For the most part, he's not a bad, comedic actor.
Right.
It's just, there's times when he gets a little,
Well, I'm sure it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for him to fill the shoes of his brother.
No, of course not.
His brother John, John was a presence that had to be dealt with, and unfortunately he couldn't handle his fame and fortune, and we lost him early. But Jim, I'm sure Jim has always had this scrutiny of being the not quite as funny little brother,
Right.
So anyway, this is not a Jim Belushi show.
Yeah, no, I see those guys as just very different in their own comedic elements, and both of them are really great. So, I don't know where I was going with that, but I don't know if I've ever, I almost forgot that there was the brother relationship between those two, just because I see them so different as far as what they bring to comedy. Jim's just got his own way of bringing something to a role that's just so different than what John did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But both being really good at what they do. So it's not like sure, they've got the last name, but the way in my mind works, it's just they're very different. But both being good.
Right. I think so too. I think they each have their own unique quality of humor, and I don't honestly feel that Jim, ever mimicked anything his brother did, because his brother was just too unique in his display of his art, whereas Jim just came across as like, well, I can do this too, so here goes.
Yeah, you see, I remember, I don't know, I feel like I remember that he was constantly compared to his brother.
Oh, I'm sure he was. And and he even said at some point, I remember reading some quotes, that was, for the longest time, he even thought about leaving the business because he had, such a huge, shadow that he was under.
Right. And I don't think it wouldn't have been as intense of a shadow if John hadn't passed in the first place. If you ask me, that's the way it wouldn't have that. What is it? Like stigma, I guess. To have to deal with that. So anyway, another day, Jim Belushi. Maybe we can do him as an icon, because he did do quite a few movies in the 80s.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
He was pretty funny.
Yeah, he was the gorilla in Trading Places. I mean, come on.
I had to bring that out. Yes.
Actually, well, if we're gonna, Mr. Destiny actually was one of my favorites by him. That was a good movie. All
right, so back on topic. Rob Lowe. Class.
Rob Lowe.
Class.
Yeah,
Class. Skip.
Yeah. Well, we're just kind of bouncing around here, but did it? And then, Scott, you said you never saw Class.
No, I saw Class. It wasn't something that I saw multiple times. Like a lot of movies I've watched over and over. There's a handful of these. The Brat Pack, there's a couple that I did not see over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Oh, speaking of the Brat Pack, I know, a little side note. I believe today is the 7th anniversary of John Hughes passing.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It's either
I had
today
no
or
idea.
yesterday. I believe it was today.
That's crazy.
All right.
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem that long.
Which, without John Hughes, without mentioning that, most of these actors wouldn't even, we might not even know some of them at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if, you didn't have Rob Lowe in St. Elmo's Fire. I still think he would have done something. I still think he would have been.
I could see that.
I think we still would know his name and still be talking about him.
And I mean, he's done a lot of great stuff since the 80s.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
Like I loved his character in Tommy Boy too.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
when you were bringing that up earlier about Wayne's World, then
Yeah.
I got that connection. I was like, Tommy Boy was the same character.
Oh yeah.
Swarmy manipulator kind of jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was this little show on TV, I don't know, it was called The West Wing or something.
Oh, yeah. Love that one. That one.
So, I mean,
I never watched that.
I never really got into it. I watched a couple episodes, never got into it, but, that really relit his career, I think.
I think so. I think you're right. Only because, it was around about that time, because he came up against a lot of flack for, some trouble that he'd gotten into. And I don't think he was getting the roles like he had been. And people, it was almost like people were trying to, I don't know when I say alienate him, but they just wasn't really sure if he was going to, come through acting wise, with all the nonsense that had happened with his personal life. So,
well, as a fan of The West Wing, he was great in it. He was fantastic. He was a press writer for the administration. He's just really, there was this storyline that he was involved in where he had seen a lady of the night, and all of a sudden it started becoming known that he was involved with this person. Of course, he, as the storyline evolved, he was trying to save her from a life that she didn't want to be saved, kind of thing.
Right.
And it was just kind of an interesting storyline, and kind of how, that kind of situation, could wreak havoc, to an administration. Somebody that's high up in the administration staff, for, presidency. And
right.
All the different drama elements and who knows what, and the deals that are being made so that it can keep secret. It's very very well done by Rob Lowe. He did awesome in it.
Yeah. The rest of his 80s accomplishments, and you all said nobody ever saw Square Dance. And actually, if you read it, it actually looks like it might have been a pretty good movie. He plays a mentally challenged teen. Winona Ryder's in it. Jane Alexander, if you remember anything she was in. She's a very excellent. Not only is she a great stage actress, so she's a good television actress as well. And then Jason Robard. But the premise of the story looks like it might have been interesting. Honestly, I never saw it on the video shelf, so I've never watched it. So if anyone out there in podcast world has ever seen this movie, please leave me a tweet on my Twitter feed, 80's Music Girl, and let me know what price tag you put on.
Please
put
do.
a price tag on this movie and make me want to watch it. I'm kidding, but I'm not really.
Yeah, price tag Square Dance for us.
Price tag Square Dance for, and New Hampshire Hotel. That looks. I don't know.
Hotel New Hampshire.
Oh yeah, Hotel. Thank you. It's got Jodie Foster in it and Beau Bridges.
Oh wow.
So yeah, Seth Green is in it too. Plays Egg Berry. Nice.
So one we went over pretty quickly was Youngblood. I thought that was a pretty good one too. I remember it being a fun, entertaining movie. The whole hockey scene was kind of cool to watch. I like, every once in a while I like a good sports movie. So
yeah, you do.
That was a good one.
I think each one of these with Patrick Swayze and Rob Lowe being in something like this, I think it was probably like a girl's dream.
Yeah.
You could have.
Yeah. Two dream boats, right?
Yeah, these two dream boats. But yeah, but it's also good, to be able to see them in something different. Sports movies are great. I mean, we had a lot of. That's one that would be a really good thing to do because of all the sports movies from the 80s.
Oh, that would be fun.
League and Youngblood, and then there was another ice hockey one. There's Hoosiers. That was a basketball one, and then
how about Ice Castles?
I was thinking about that one. Never saw it, but yeah, that actually looks like it might be something interesting. And then, what's that? Cutting Edge? That was in.
Oh, the Cutting Edge. Yeah, that was a good one.
That was in the 80s?
I had a friend.
I think so.
So it was 89, I believe.
9?
Yeah. I'm guessing, even though I got IMDb right here in front of me. But
you're making me look it up.
I'm relying on my gray matter. So, yeah, Cutting Edge. So.
1992.
Oh. Just past it.
Yep. I remember Topic.
Topic, yeah. I had a friend of mine. She used to watch this movie on a regular basis. I don't understand what the big fascination was, but I don't know. Who was the lead guy in that? Do you know? It might have been him. I don't know.
Let's see. What is that gentleman's name? D.B. Sweeney. D.B. Sweeney.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, D.B. Sweeney. I don't ever remember her being like a hopeful for the ice skating, the Olympics or anything. So.
Yeah, Maura Kelly.
Yeah, I don't remember her in a whole lot of stuff. Is it Maura or Moira?
Moira.
Either way you want to put it.
Any way we want to put it. Moira. Oh
if we're gonna talk ice skating movies, we're gonna have to jump up into the early 2000s and go with Blades of Glory.
Blades of Glory. Yeah, I am. I was watching something about John Heder the other day.
Yeah.
And I never saw that, and I kind of wanted to see it, but then I saw the previews for it, and then I thought, it doesn't look very good.
It's hysterical.
Well, that's what I hear.
But that's coming from somebody who likes the holiday special, so.
Well, but, you have your good points. Come on, guys. It's okay. So, any parting thoughts on Mr. Lowe?
Bringing us back to topic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, who are we talking about?
Parting thoughts.
This is the D.B. Sweeney podcast. Come on.
No, it's not, actually. Thank you, though. I appreciate that.
Parting thoughts, Mr. Rob Lowe.
Yes.
And we're talking about, this whole thing started because we wanted to talk about The Outsiders. And, we spent quite a bit of time talking about, from our previous earlier ones, what the roles of these people in that movie. We talked about Ralph Macchio. We talked about C. Thomas Howell. We talked about Patrick Swayze. We didn't even talk Soda Pop Curtis in this one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you remember about Soda Pop Curtis from The Outsiders? And this is, this unfortunately is part of the my final thoughts, is because he was the pretty boy outsider, and I know he was Ponyboy's brother, and I know that he was a nice brother, but that's all I really remember of him from The Outsiders.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't want to use this term lightly. Well, I don't want to say he's kind of a doofus, but I guess he kind of was a doofus a bit. He was kind of, I don't know, he just kind of went along with everybody else. You know, he didn't really have an opinion about anything. He just kind of went along with everybody because, you know, he didn't want to have any conflicts with anyone because he loved his family, you know, and you could really see there was tension there, and he always tried to kind of smooth it over when he could, but, you know, there's just a whole lot going on, and just, you could see him just being, like, really super uncomfortable through, like, the whole movie.
It's kind of the supportive brother of,
Yeah.
you know, because Patrick Swayze's character is a little bit tougher and being the leader of the family, you know, and having to make sure everybody was staying in line to some degree. And then, you know, then you've got the other side of the coin of, you know, Ponyboy being a little nicer than everyone else. And so I guess, you know, what we needed from Soda Pop was the mediator between those two balances, I assume. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah. Scott, did you have a scene in Outsiders that you remembered about Soda Pop?
I really don't remember him standing out among the characters. I just remember him being part of the cast. That cast is so hard to pick apart, though.
It is.
I mean, other than the two lead roles of C. Thomas Howell, you know, as Ponyboy, and Ralph Macchio as Johnny, and maybe Matt Dillon as Dallas, but the rest of them kind of had they carried a similar weight through the movie. Nobody had like standout roles other than like those three main characters.
I gotta disagree, man. 2-Bit was my man.
Oh yeah, well he was a madman. He was out of control.
He was awesome.
That was Emilio Estevez, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He was like the crazy, just
comedic relief.
Yes, yeah, definitely. What was it where he sat down with the whole cake or something like that?
Yeah, right.
Or something along those lines. So I could see Emilio being more of a standout role, but as far as like Rob Lowe, he didn't really jump out at me in that role. I think it was a good start for him. Like it started sending him into other, and between that and Class coming out in the same year, I think that's what really put him on the scene. So I would have to say like my final thoughts on him though would have to be my initial thoughts on him with the quote from St. Elmo's Fire.
Right. That and that was definitely an excellent quote, and I loved how he was able, you know, to kind of see Jules, you know, for what she was really doing and call her on it, you know, because up until that point no one really had. But I'm trying to remember, and this is just pure gray matter talking here. There was a scene in The Outsiders where Ponyboy and
Johnny?
Nope. Daryl. Thank you. Okay. We're arguing.
Okay.
And Soda Pop, like, flipped out. And he just, like, took off running, you know? And if it wasn't him, please tell me. But it was just like he just really got so angry about everybody fighting, you know, and everybody, you know, two of them was always so intense between the two brothers, and he just really got tired of it. And everybody was so shocked because he never said anything, you know. And I thought, yeah, you know, because a lot of times when you're like holding it in, you know, and you're trying to be the middleman and the mediator, and it's not working, you know, you can't keep all that bottled up inside you. You just gotta, you know, you gotta let it go. And he kind of did. It was just like a very poignant part of the movie. But
I really need to go back and watch that one again. The Outsiders. I mean, I have not seen it in years, and I really do need to watch it again because I remember it being like one of my favorite books in like, I think it was like 7th grade that I read it.
Yeah, I remember watching it when I was
and it led me right into the other S.E. Hinton series, you know, with with Tex and Rumblefish and if you that was then, this is now. Those
that
four,
was another good one too.
Those four were, part of what The Outsiders, what really led me into those other three, and I really need to go back and watch this one again. Probably all the S.E. Hinton ones, just because they play a important role in my youth, from what I remember reading. So anyway, so yeah, that's all I had on The Outsiders.
I actually want to throw something out there, and just before we say our goodbyes,
Mm-hmm.
It just came to me. Do you think they'll ever remake this? And do you think they should? I mean, of all the S.E. Hinton, films and books that that were adapted from the books, this one and Rumblefish have seemed to have the biggest impact. Do you think there's like a remake in the future, or do you think they should?
I hope not, because I don't think you. Okay, maybe I'm a little out of touch with today's younger actors in Hollywood, but
right.
I don't see a cast like this.
Yeah.
In today's young actors.
Right.
And maybe I'm wrong, but I just, that's just the way I see it. I mean, you had how many main characters in that? 9 or 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. I mean, even if you take into consideration Diane Lane and a couple of the other guys, the Sochas, there's just such a huge cast of big names that just became so popular. I don't know if I see that potential in a lot of the movies that I see nowadays with some of the younger actors.
Right. Dave?
I agree a lot with what Scott's saying, but I've also come to the realization that it really just kind of doesn't matter. And the reason why I bring that up is because I know they remade Flashdance. I know they remade RoboCop. I know they remade, I don't know, Red Dawn. I haven't seen any of them. I don't intend to see any of them because the first one already did what it needed to do for me.
Right.
So if they're going to remake it, let them remake it. Their prerogative. But, as somebody who's a fan of the original and already have gotten what I needed from that, I mean, it's, I'm good with what I've got. If, I want to revisit that movie, I know where to find it. I don't have to wait for the new release of it, with, whoever the hot starlet is for this current generation.
Right.
If they do redo the movie, and I wish them success. I wish that they they do it well and they pay homage to the original. And out of kind of a nod or respect kind of a thing. But I guess it doesn't it doesn't mess with me either way if they do it or not. Should they do it? In my mind, no.
Right. I feel the same way. However, we do know Hollywood, and they pretty much do what they want. But I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to close. Something like The Outsiders wasn't done overnight, and it was pretty much, you had some seasoned actors in there, but you also had some fairly newcomers, bringing their talent to the table. They couldn't do it without doing that. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't see a whole lot of brat packers running around in the new millennium. So they would have to start with that first. They would have to start with actors who are honing their craft, who've been here and there and they've got some accolades, and they're really serious about what they're doing, and if you don't have something that you can start from that, then don't bother. That's all I'm saying. Alrighty. So, having said that, Scott, where can we find you on social media?
Well, on Twitter, you can find me in 2 different places. You can find me at 80's Auto Reverse or at Scott's Eye. And on Facebook, you can find us at the 80's Mixtape Auto Reverse page.
Awesome. Dave?
Well, before I go into that, I just wanted a quick note that if there's ever any podcast that my 15-year-old might listen to, it would be this one. So for some reason, Rob Lowe has got this hook on the younger generation. So it just, if for chance, Megan, you ever listen to this, love you. Anyway,
Yay.
how you find me on social media? Twitter at 80's Reboot. Facebook, facebook.com/80's Reboot. Tumblr is 80sreboot.tumblr.com. If you want to shoot us an email, it's 80sreboot@gmail.com. And we also have a blog, which I haven't touched in so long. That's southgatemediagroup.com/80s Reboot.
Awesome. And I'm at 80s Music Girl on Twitter, 80s Music Girl on Facebook, and 80s Music Girl on Instagram. Dave, Scott, thank you so much for being with me today on this episode of the Icon series, and I look forward to working with you all again. Thank you, everybody out there in internet land. We love you, and keep it 80s.
Good night.
Nice. That was awesome.
Good night.
We hope you've enjoyed this show. This podcast is part of the 80s Reboot Overdrive channel on Southgate Media Group. You can follow us on Facebook on the 80s Reboot group page. We're also on Twitter and Tumblr at 80s Reboot. We invite you to check out all the wonderful podcasts and blogs available at southgatemediagroup.com. And thank you for reliving the 80s. Very good job, Rose.
Why, thank you. I was so nervous. Oh, besides that closing, I meant what I said on that closing bit. Because I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but they don't have a whole lot of really good young actors kicking about out there. You know,
that's
the 80s.
Yeah, that was my take on it too.
Yeah, so it's just like, I dare you. I dared Hollywood to make it. That was my dare. I dare you.
I think there's like, certain people that are like in the Disney movies and things like that. The teenagers seem to really like, those kind of things, like the High School Musicals, which I don't even know if that even hit your guys' radars or not.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about people like Zac Efron and Miley Cyrus and all these other people that, well, they've got Glee and they've got, High School Musical and even, Pitch Perfect, places like, movies like that, but they don't really have anything that stands out, that says, okay, yeah, these guys let's put all of these people in a movie and see what happens.
Well, and maybe it's just because we're older we feel that way, but maybe the younger generation feels like we do about the Brat Pack.
Could be.
Well, and then too, I can honestly say no, because I'm just saying, you know yourself, we are, 80s Reboot, you're 80s Overdrive, and I'm 80s Music Girl, and for a fact, if you and I were to tweet Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, anything that had to do with the 80s, it was a movie, Weird Science, you get all walks of life from everywhere in the world. Oh, I love that movie. Oh my God, that was such a cool movie. Oh, and The Breakfast Club. People are like idol. There's like societies out there that, worship anything about The Breakfast Club. I'm being sarcastic, but
I
it's
see
true.
where you're going with this. I do.
Yeah.
Because if you were to tweet out hashtag High School Musical, what kind of response would you get? Would you get as much as you would for, Breakfast Club?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And I'm sure you probably would, but it would come from a different perspective. It would come from a different generation.
Right.
Like my granddaughter's age. My granddaughter turned 16 yesterday. And it's just like she knows more about 80s songs than I do. And it's like, how did you know that song? Well, I was listening to the radio one day and Mom was saying that. I thought, oh, that's a cool song. Where did that come from? And I guess she thought it was an original song, and come to find out it wasn't, and it was a remake, and then she had to go back, and it came from a movie, and it was just like, oh my god, So it's just one of those things. It's like, just when you think you know something, it's pretty much been redone, as we find out every day.
Yeah,
right.
So who's next? Which we're not doing today, right?
We could do it. I could do another one. I got another 50 minutes before I go to bed.
Oh, sorry.
Up to you, Rose.
No, I made dinner. I just have to eat it now.
Oh, okay.
So, and then I got lost.
I was thinking Matt Dillon next.
Oh, cool.
I was hoping Matt Dillon next. Actually.
Yeah.
Because I know in the not too distant future we've got that Tom Cruise one hanging out there. But I'm willing to let that one kind of hang out there and take our time moving into that.
And it's so funny too, because most people that really aren't familiar with our tastes and actors will probably say, oh, they're saving the best for last. Tom Cruise. No. We're not.
Well, no, I honestly think that we'll have Scott being the defense for Mr. Cruise. And then you have two prosecutors, Rose and I.
Yeah. He was good up until Born on the 4th of July, and then I just stopped watching him, and then he got weird. And then I watched him again when he did Minority Report, and I was hooked after that. So there was like a whole decade where I just didn't watch anything he was in.
So back to Outsiders. Matt Dillon, Tom Cruise. I wanted to do kind of a visit for Michelle Mayrink, which you guys probably would be. I don't know how much you'd be able to add to that, but
absolutely nothing.
Oh well, then it would be me chatting a lot to you guys. So
okay, well, okay. First of all, I can't even spell her name, so it's like, how do you?
Well,
I don't even know what she's been in. Sorry.
If you've seen Revenge of the Nerds, you know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or Real Genius.
Real Genius is the one I really want to talk about.
Is it 2 L's or 1?
2 L's, I believe.
When I looked her up, I looked up images because I wanted to see. I could not believe that was the same person. I did not know that was the same person from Revenge of the Nerds and Real Genius. Because her hair is so much different. She just has a completely different look. She fooled me. But one of the pictures that came up was also Boof from Teen Wolf, and I'm like, well, that's not her. But
no,
it was just pulling up other actresses from that same genre and era, basically. I'm like, well, she kind of resembles, but it makes me think of Boof too.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that one has to be like a full-fledged long episode. It can be just kind of like a short bonus thing that we can do.
Mm-hmm. So,
but we can't leave Outsiders without me having the opportunity to do that one. So besides those three, who else is there on Outsiders that we need to cover?
Well, we already did Emilio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did Emilio. We did Diane Lane.
Did C. Thomas Howell.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who else. Who was the main Soch character?
Yeah, because we don't want to seem like we're being racist or anything.
Leif Garrett.
Oh, right. Leif Garrett was in that?
Oh.
Or no, wait. No. Glenn Withrow? Tim Shepard?
Tim Shepard. That's
Dalton, Tom Waits, Gary Sartain, Tom Greaser and Concession Stand, so Hugh Walkinshaw.
Yeah, I really wouldn't have much to talk about for Glenn Withrow.
Hey, S.E. Hinton played the nurse. That's awesome.
Oh, she was in there. I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's a shame. I liked Heather Langenkamp, and they deleted her scene. She was in the Freddy movie for a while at the beginning.
Wow, I didn't know Tom Waits was in The Outsiders.
Yeah.
Awesome musician.
Yeah, definitely. It really kind of weirded me out Now, I wasn't a really big fan of, what's the homegirl that plays Black Widow in the Avenger movies? Help me out here.
You got me.
Something. God, what's her name? I know. It's like
very
right
unique
on,
name.
Yeah. Like, she was with Bill Murray in Lost in Translation. Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett
I
Johansson.
said Scarlett O'Hara. Yeah, she did like an entire cover album of Tom Waits songs.
Really?
What the hell? Yeah. Really? Who does that?
Interesting.
Wow.
If you couldn't get any weirder, that to put the nail in the coffin there, Chickie. Like, what the hell is your problem?
I didn't even know she sang.
Well, hello. Yeah, so that answers your question.
Yeah.
No, she can't. But, yeah, honestly, I think, Marvel, the people that, whoever does the Marvel movies came to her and said, we're like your last resort to resurrect your career, so I think you should just come with us quietly. So, yeah.
I think she kicks major butt in those movies, though.
Oh, hell yeah. I love her a lot more than I did in Lost in Translation. I literally wanted to, push her off a cliff. I could not stand it. I can't even remember how I even went. I think I went with somebody that wanted to see it, and they loved it, and I was poking myself in the eye with a stick. Like, I could not believe it. Even with Bill Murray, he couldn't even save it.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that movie.
And then it ended up winning, an Oscar, and Sofia Coppola got an Oscar for it, and I thought, baloney. Baloney.